Championships championship, because you're certainly going to get one. Well, I tell you what, folks, if you were hoping for a championship showdown in the United Arab Emirates F4 Championship, you're definitely going to get one. We have an exciting first race of the weekend coming up, and with the two championship contenders, Keanu Al-Azhari and Freddie Slater, having already been eaten into in the advantage in qualifying by Kia Nakamura-Berta and Rashid Al-Daheri, it's definitely going to be a close encounter. We've got a feeling that the F4 UAE Championship could go right down to the wire on Sunday, possibly even to the very last lap of the very last race. Let's see who your runners and riders are for this final weekend of the championship. The championship has reached an epic final weekend, with every position in the top 6 up for grabs and the team standings shuffling almost race by race. So the Dubai Autodrome conclusion should be no different. Last week was a tough one for the Mumbai Falcons, but they still lead the way with Freddie Slater, Kia Nakamura-Berta and even Alex Powell in mathematical contention ahead of race 1, with Dion Gauda snapping at their heels in the hope that he can become the team's 4th different winner of 2024. Prema had an incredible weekend at Yas last time out, with both Dorian Pain and Rashid Al-Daheri clinching victories. However, the former has returned to Europe, whilst the latter is still in championship contention and has the confidence of a win behind him. Thomas Stolchemanis has also dusted off the cobwebs from his debut and could be epic in Dubai. This is the biggest weekend of the Yas Heat Academy team's short history, as Keanu Al-Azhari leads the championship coming in and could clinch it all at his home venue. Watch out for Zach Schooler to do well too, as he was cruelly denied some strong finishes in the mixed conditions of Abu Dhabi, and last time at Dubai, he was very fast. Now, all 4 of High-Tech's British charges have tasted success, after Gabriel Stilp and Reza Swerven scored a 1-2 finish in the wet of race 2 at Yas Marina. Sebastian Murray was P5 in the same race, and Deegan Fairclough was unfortunate to lose out, but after his early season pace, the team could well be battling for all 3 wins this time. The absence of Nikita Bedrin has been very noticeable at PHM AIX, but there's still positive signs that Max Popov and Kamal Murad could make their way to the points more than once. Everett Stack is still living the trial by fire approach, whilst Davide Larini seems to be gaining confidence by the lap, never mind by the race. Race GP have shot up the table thanks to the brilliant drives from Enzo Deligny and Enzo Ye last weekend, but Jules Caranta will definitely be worth a watch after top 5 pace in Friday practice, and Lucas Amalisto was in fine form at Yas Marina. 6th in the championship may be all the team can achieve, but they could finish the year close to the top 5. Santalok are tantalisingly close to the podium, as Matteo Quintarelli scored a top 5 finish at Yas Marina, and Yvan David should have done, with lightning speed in both the wet and the dry. Provided that the team continues to progress, and Maxi Restrepo and Rafael Narak are able to show their hands, it could be a sensational swan song. The Australian newbies at AGI Sport have definitely enjoyed their time in the UAE, and it looks like they'll be a permanent staple of the championship. Jack Beaton and Nicholas Starty have been fantastic characters both on and off the track. And after missing the last 2 rounds, it's great to see Carrie Schreiner returning to finish the season in Dubai. XL Motorsport have been the nearly men of 2024. So many times we've seen Thiago Rodriguez, Alves Rodella and Chuyan Pu on the verge of big results, and even Liu Kai-shun had flashes of speed in the tough conditions last week. But there's only one more chance to prove the team's previous title-winning credentials, so let's hope it happens. Finally, the boys at Pinnacle will be on the charge to break double figures in the point standings with the final encounter in Dubai. Kai Daryanani and Hio Yamakoshi are best placed to do the deed, as both men have more speed and ability than their points tally would suggest, and Fu Yu Hao is improving all the time, so let's see what they can do. Well, one man who's going to be absolutely delighted at the way the F4 UAE showdown is going is the General Manager of Top Speed, Davide De Gobi. Davide, this could not be a better way for this championship to end when we know we've got at least 4 drivers realistically who could be champion, 6 who are still mathematically in it, and we have no idea which way it's going to go.
Yeah, it's really exciting to arrive at the final, and we still have the championship open with so many contenders. So I'm looking forward for a very exciting race. So already the qualifiers show that will be really interesting this final. So let's look, and I'm really curious to see who will be the winner at the end of this weekend.
Now this year, although there's been some dramas in F4 UAE, there's been a lot of fantastic racecraft as well. The level's really gone up over the last year. Even in last week at Yas Marina, when we had a lot of difficult weather conditions, torrential rain, and even very tricky to predict on tyres. Are you impressed by just how high the level of the driving standards have become now in F4?
Yes, we have to say we were really impressed by the level of the races. So every race is a big fight, a lot of action, but it's all fair, and it showed that the driver really improve a lot their skill. Despite the young age, they are really, really mature, and they behave really well on the track.
We've waited almost a decade for a driver from the United Arab Emirates to go for this championship, and now we've got two of them that could mathematically do it. What do you think the chances are of a showdown right to the last race?
Yeah, they're really performing well. Last weekend already we had a podium with first and second. We have one driver leading the championship. I just say good luck to them. I really hope to see them on the top of the podium again.
Yeah, it could be really exciting. Thank you very much. Ciao, grazie mille.
Ciao. Okay.
Always very exciting to see what the powers that be have to say about the action. The drivers now making their way to the starting grid. It's a very competitive first starting grid, this one. The top three drivers are going to be very closely matched, but they're going to be the same top three drivers for both race 1 today and race 3 tomorrow. Kia Nakamura on pole position. Alongside him on the grid will be his title protagonist, Rashid Al Daheri, and in third place, Alex Powell, who could still mathematically be champion, but only if he wins all 3 races and his other championship contenders falter. Similar situation as well for the British driver Gabriel Still, who just about has a slim chance of hanging on to it. But it is really, really close. And as you can probably feel here from my frame of the sweat pouring off me, it's a lot hotter now than it was 2 weeks ago here on the Dubai Autodrome. That means that the tyres are really going to struggle to go the distance without having major adverse effects for the drivers. And that means obviously that 2 weeks ago, when tyres could go a certain way and then fall off, they're going to drop a lot quicker this time. And so essentially the tyre whisperer, as Kent Heathcote noted on the stream a little earlier on, thanks for that comment by the way, mate, it's going to be very much about who can look after their tyres best over a prolonged period. As the drivers make their way to the grid, you'll obviously be wanting to know how the contenders are feeling coming into this championship event. Well, fortunately, we managed to catch up with the main 4 protagonists, Keanu Al-Azari, Freddie Slater, Kia Nakamura and Rashid Al Daheri. How are they feeling going into the big show? Keanu Al-Azari, championship leader coming into the final 3 races of the season and on your home turf as well. How's the mood at the moment?
Yeah, pretty good, I have to say. Yeah, it's been a long time coming. I'm really excited for the weekend. We're in a great spot right now, you know, quite relaxed. We'll see whatever happens this weekend, but I have a good feeling.
You've definitely been chasing the lead of the championship on the comeback trail. Now that you've actually got into the lead, what's the game plan for these last 3 races?
I mean, same as always. Every time you get into a race, you just do your best, finish as high as you can. There's no strategy to play out. You just go for whatever overtake you can go for, finish where you can, and get the highest result possible, you know? Try not to overthink it and just do your best.
It certainly looks like it's going to be a tough fight down to the wire, especially how close things got with Freddie in race 1 at Yas Marina. How do you feel things are likely to play out here over the course of the 3 races on that front? Are you nervous about it or quite excited for what could come?
Obviously I'm excited, but you know, I think whatever happens, happens. There's no intentions going on, just it's racing, you know, it's motorsport. And yeah, you know what, the move that happened has already been decided. Can't change anything now, and yeah, just excited for the next races, and I'll do my best.
We're looking forward to seeing how they play out. Good luck.
Thank you.
Freddie Slater, make or break time now in the championship. 3 races to go. You've been at the front for most of the season. What's the game plan coming into these last 3 races?
To be honest, there's not much that I can do. There's not much of a game plan. It's just go win all 3 races. That's the goal. Still the same approach as it has been for the whole championship. It's win as many races, do the shortest distance, minimum time in the race, and win them. So I think we're all good. We're just focused on doing the job, getting the most out of it in quali. I think that's most important because obviously you know what Formula racing is like. It's quite hard to overtake. And then the reverse grid spices it up because it's obviously full points in that. So yeah, it's going to get spicy, but I'm looking forward to it.
First 3 rounds of the championship went pretty much your way. Last time out at Yas Marina, I think it's fair to say it's a difficult one to look back on. How would you summarise it?
Yeah, the first 3 rounds were pretty decent. Like the Dubai one here was we struggled a little bit. Just overall, it was a bit carnage. There was a lot going on, but then Yas was just tough. The start incident was just unfortunate, is what it is. And then we just tried to gamble a few bits, and it just didn't work. And it's something that will make me better in the long term. So it's hard to swallow now, but I'd rather be better long term. But it was tough. It definitely was tough to take. But now we're focused on this job, so that's the thing we got to do, and just crack on.
The good thing is in qualifying in general, you guys have had strong pace from the outset. After practice, how do you feel things are likely to go up?
Yeah, we'll see. We've still got 2 more practice sessions. We've only had 1 so far, and obviously we're quite limited on tyres. We only have 1 new set for 3 sessions. So these 2 sessions today are quite hard to judge what everybody's doing. So tomorrow morning will be the main indication of where we're at.
Okay, well, hopefully it's going to be a prosperous one for you, Freddie. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Not bad for a rookie campaign. You won your very first race of the season back in January, and now you're in the fight for the championship going into the last 3 races. What's the mindset currently?
The mindset, it's like how it's always been. It's just focus, try to do the best I can in the races. If we can snatch the championship, that would be ideal, but I'm just trying to stay like flat to the ground, just try the best I can. Taking a few wins this weekend would be good to end the season, but I think as long as I take the rookie championship and maybe a top 3 in the championship, I'll be pretty happy with how it went.
It seems like the pressure's really intense with all 3 of you guys, because it kind of bubbled over a little bit for all 3 of you at Yas Marina. Was that just one of those race weekends, or is there a real intensity to this championship fight now?
I think it was just one of those weekends. We've all had a decent championship hunt at that point, and it was bound to happen, like one weekend where things just didn't go the right way, and I think that's what happened for me last week. It was just 2 punches on Sunday. That was really, really unlucky, and on Saturday we had just a tiny jump start, but it's in the past, and just looking forward for this weekend.
The advantage is that you're quick around this particular circuit. You certainly were last time, so having got yourself back into the title fight here, maybe this is the chance for you to take it.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Good job so far, Kian. Good luck.
Thank you.
Mathematically, Rashid, after winning at Yas, you still have a chance to potentially win this championship. Is that on your mind, or are you just focusing one race at a time?
Yeah, I mean, of course, we know where you say around that area, but I feel like the most important thing is to just focus one race at a time. I feel like it's very important to, focus on having a good qualification, then race 1, then have a good reverse grid race 2 and race 3. So I feel like it's more important to just focus on the races and not the championship, and we'll just see how we end up at the end of the weekend.
They say you're only ever as good as your last race. Your last race you won, and on home soil. How big a moment was that for you?
Of course, winning at home was always amazing. I really liked it a lot, especially in Yas Marina circuit. It's a really nice track, hosting the Formula 1. So it was a really nice place to win, especially in those tricky conditions where the track was drying, but then it started to rain a bit too. So there's a lot of different aspects that we had to manage, and we were able to do a really good job. So yeah, hopefully we keep that momentum into this race weekend.
So after getting such a tough victory in impossible conditions to cope with, is it a little easier now here at Dubai, or is the pressure still as intense as always?
I feel like it's, of course, with this kind of grid, you're never relaxed. You always need to find the absolute limit and try to work really hard. And I feel like now we have free practice, and we're gonna prepare for the qualifications. And I feel like overall we're gonna be able to just work hard, make sure we have everything what we need to be starting as front as possible.
Well, we wish you all the best for the final races of the season. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
So it's time for the drivers to get under starters' orders then in fantastic fashion. With such an incredibly close battle in this championship, we have 3 races to come in the F4 UAE, and my goodness me, it's hard to predict who is going to be champion. We know going in, of course, that Keanu Al-Azhari will be the championship leader, certainly ahead of race 1, but Freddie Slater is still going to try and take some points off him, and also Kian Nakamura-Roberta and Rashid Al-Daheri, the men who are 3rd and 4th in the Drivers' Championship, are on the front row of the starting grid ahead of both men. Keanu Al-Azhari goes P5 on the grid for this one. Freddie Slater can only start 13th, so this is definitely going to be a nail-biter as far as the championship aspirations are concerned. It will be very tough to see how it all continues, but it will be so close. I have a feeling this is going to be one of those championships that might not get decided until the last lap of the last race of the season. It is that kind of opportunity at the moment, with so many great talents in this offing. I genuinely couldn't tell you at this moment who is going to be the F4 UAE champion. Look at that, 28 degrees Celsius. Absolutely astonishing how quickly the temperature has risen since qualifying this morning. It's the most intense heat that we have actually had all season over the course of the Formula Regional Middle East Championship and Formula 4 UAE Championship as well. So this is going to be a real tough moment for all of the drivers. And this is a very important race to get right here. There are 6 drivers mathematically who could win this championship. Keanu Al-Azari, Freddie Slater, Kian Nakamura-Berta, Rashid Al-Daheri, Alex Powell and Gabriel Stilp. At the end of this race, we could go down from 6 championship contenders to 4. It's going to be so difficult to make out who is going to be in the mix of it. But we certainly know one thing for sure. There's no champion going to be decided today. That will have to wait until tomorrow. It's going to be so close. So Kian Nakamura-Berta has one job from pole position. Disappear into the distance, get back in this championship fight and level the scores with his closest opponents. Green flag flies and it's formation lap time. Let's go through the grid in full. Kian Nakamura-Berta, pole position. Rashid Al-Daheri, second on the grid. Alex Powell, third position. Fourth is Jules Caranta, best of the rest and definitely hungry for his first overall podium. Keanu Al-Azari, fifth on the starting grid on home soil. Jack Beaton, the mega Australian, sixth on the grid. Seventh place for Enzo Ye after his podium last time out. Dion Gauda, eighth position, and that is stationary Dion Gauda. He's not going anywhere. Now he needs to, because obviously from here he cannot afford the whole field to get past him, because if they do, then he's got to start this race from the back of the grid, but he may have to start it from the pit lane. So we'll keep an eye on that, but for the moment Dion Gauda in trouble. And the medical car appears to, the marshals are going out to him. I think he's going to have to start this race from the back of the grid. This is disastrous for Dion Gauda. He may have to start it from the pit lane. So behind him, it should be Deegan Fairclough in 9th position. 10th place for Lucas Samalisto. 11th is Zach Skula. And then 12th is Enzo Deligny, the Red Bull youngster. Freddie Slater is next up, 13th, and battling for the title. 14th is Thomas Stolchamanis, the Latvian. Then Tiago Rodriguez alongside Gabriel Stilp. Then Alvis Rodella, 17th, along with Max Popov in 18th place. Matteo Quintarelli is next up in 19th. And then Xu Yanpu, the Chinese driver. Then it is Reza Suwerven, who lines up 21st on the grid alongside Nicolas Stati. Davide Larini is 23rd on the grid along with Kamal Murad. And then we have Yavan David all the way down in 25th after a difficult qualifying session. Luca Schun, 26th on the grid. Then it is Sebastian Murray, Maximiliano Restrepo, Rafael Narak, Kai Darianani, Kari Schmeiner, Fuyu Hao. And at the back of the grid, it is Everett Stack. So already some big problems coming into this one. Sebastian Murray, of course, has a 3 grid position penalty. He should have started 24th on the grid, but he's demoted to 27th. Now, there is an interesting sight you just saw there. The runoff area has actually been extended for this round of the championship after some of the near misses that we had in round 3. So at the exit of turn 2, you actually have to go all the way along to the very edge of the cones before rejoining, and that is on the way halfway round the outside radius of turn 2. So it's quite important that the drivers adhere to that. You'll see it a couple of times, no doubt, over the course of the race. But here we are on the Dubai Autodrome, a perfect location to end the season with these final 3 races. 1 today and 2 tomorrow. We won't get a champion until tomorrow, that is for sure. It's far too close between the top 6 drivers to settle it today. But we're certainly going to get one step closer to finding out who is going to be the F4 UAE champion in 2024. And it's definitely going to be very close indeed. So we're going to have to see just how close it can be. But what a astonishing situation we could have here. It's going to be a very, very close encounter for the title. And we are in a very tough situation for all of the contenders, knowing that this is going to be the hardest race of the year on tyre management. They're never going to have it harder in terms of the degradation than they've had up to this point. Tomorrow could be hotter still, so could get tougher tomorrow, but certainly up to this point, this is where the tyres could suddenly just disappear for the driver after about 3 or 4 laps. So this race could have several twists and turns in it, even after the first couple of laps. It then comes down to feel, it comes down to instinct, and whoever's got the best of it is going to come through at the far end of the dais. Kian Nakamura-Berta is on the right of your screen in pole position. To the left is Rashid Al-Daheri. This is going to be a very tough race ahead of us. 28 minutes plus the additional lap, but goodness knows who's going to look after tyres best. This could be one of the least straightforward F4 races you're ever going to see. As Kian Nakamura-Berta will get himself neatly into position. The green flag flies at the back of the grid. Lights come on, and for the first time out of 3, F4 UAE will conclude in 2024. Let's race to Dubai! It's a perfect start for Kia Nakamura-Berta. No issues from pole position. Powell slots in behind Rashid Al-Daheri. Shulkaranta a little bit sluggish as Al-Azhari and Beaton are going to time him on either side. And already Nakamura-Berta trying to kick up the dust as he goes to the first corner in front of Al-Daheri. There's a little bit of shuffling of the deck further back, but it looks like a clean start to me as Freddie Slater goes wheel to wheel with Enzo Deligny through turn one. Al-Azhari goes a little bit wide and as a result drops back behind Caranta, Beaton and Enzo Ye. And there's a spin further back. One of the pinnacles has gone around. I think that could be Fu Yu Hao. So we'll have to double check it. No, it's Kai Darianani, his teammate. So Darianani is the one that's gone around. Very unfortunate indeed for the Indian driver who recovers just in front of Dion Gouda, who now passes him as they start from the pits. Look how dusty it is around the circuit. The sand has properly been collected on the circuit in the gusts of wind, so it is really tricky for grip out there. Drivers already had problems in qualifying with grip, and now they've got even more. They go down the back straight. And you can see for yourself the heat haze is pretty high, but there's a lot of sand around, and oh dear, goodness me, a couple of drivers actually running right off the racetrack. Al-Azhari desperately trying to hold on to at least P6 as Beaton goes hungry on the inside of Gilles Caranta. Deegan Fairclough trying to move up a couple of places there as well, I saw. And side by side, that's Kamal Murad going wheel to wheel with his teammate Davide Larini. They work their way through on the opening lap then. And already battles galore as Keanu Al-Azhari is going wheel to wheel with Deegan Fairclough, the British driver for Hi-Tech. Deegan trying to get back on terms, and in the middle of all that somewhere is the Mumbai Falcon of Freddie Slater. Couldn't quite make out where he was, but it's certainly very close indeed at this point, as everybody's just trying to mix it very evenly at the first part of the lap. Through they come to the hairpin one more time. Still Al-Azhari going wheel to wheel with Fairclough. Can Fairclough hold that right round the outside? He can, and he's going to pop it to the inside of Al-Azhari. So they're going to go side by side, and Al-Azhari's held onto it. So he's been very forceful there in making sure that Fairclough can't find a way by. So Fairclough's now got to go slow in and fast out of the final turn and have another go. It's Nakamura-Berta, Al-Daheri, Powell, Beaton, Ye, Al-Azhari, Fairclough, Caranta. Slater's up to 9th and Deligny in 10th position. And this is one of those races where Freddie Slater can't afford to finish 12th. He's got to go for it as Fairclough has a look at the inside of Al-Azhari. Al-Azhari's going to drift wide under pressure. Now you're going to see Al-Azhari take to the runoff area, and he's got to do the complete extension of the runoff area and then come back in. So he has to lose places, and crucially, he drops behind Deligny, which means he's also behind Freddie Slater. So this is a proper championship battle now. Slater is 8th, Al-Azhari is down to 10th. And out in front, Nakamura-Berta and Rashid Al-Daheri are loving life in 1st and 2nd. So really close quarters at the moment. Several drivers having to run wide. I think that's Gabriel Stilp just dropping it a little bit there in the far side of the course. Look, there's several lines of choice from the drivers here as they try their best to navigate the hairpin on the run to the back straight. But Nakamura-Berta still leads the way here in front of Rashid Al-Daheri, then Alex Powell, Jack Beaton, and Enzo Ye, who's made a terrific start from what was 7th on the grid. So now Rashid Al-Daheri's just got to follow in pursuit of Kia Nakamura-Berta. Now those first few laps are obviously going to feel like a normal race to a certain extent, but by about lap 5, lap 6, the tyres are going to be absolutely screaming at the drivers. Because it's never been as hot as this, it's never been as humid as this. So this is absolutely danger zone point for the drivers on their tyres at this moment. A couple of drivers still running wide further back, but it's getting seriously choppy in that battle for the lower end of the positions. And as I was about to say earlier on, this is one of those races where Freddie Slater can't afford to go for a reverse grid pole. He's got to try and score as many points as humanly possible in the hope that that can actually help him in the championship. So do you sacrifice a reverse grid pole and drop out of the points in the hope that if you score a 7th or 8th place finish, that could be enough points to get you over the trickle of the finish line for the title fight? It is so difficult to know which tactic is going to be the best one. So through they come again. For some reason the timer is not going, but that's not going to change how it is in terms of the race. My timing screen is working perfectly fine, so that's the good thing. Slater up the inside of Deligny and Al-Azhari. Deligny's got nothing to lose, so he's going to go further along. Al-Azhari trying to come around the outside of Slater. The championship contenders, they nearly collide again after what happened between them at Yas Marina last time out. This has shades of Verstappen and Hamilton all over it between these two. Nakamura-Berta still leads the way. Al-Daheri, Powell, Beaton and Ye. And then a massive gap back to 6th position. And Deegan Fairclough in front of Deligny and Slater. So
So Enzo Deligny with nothing to lose, as wide side by side there, that was Stolchamanis dueling away with Jovan David. Jovan David stormed his way forward. That's Matteo Quintarelli getting in the mix there as well. Jovan David has shot through this field once again, as Rashid Al-Aheri is trying to take on Nakamura Berta for the lead of the race. Now, that's what we need to really be focusing on. Powell in third place on his own, then Beaton and Ye. But who is now leading? Is it Al-Aheri? Has he managed to get through on Nakamura Berta? Not yet, but he's right there, and as a result of the challenge, Alex Powell has now got a shot. Through the right-hander, and you can see they're really wrestling for grip. The back end of the car is trying desperately to overtake the front amongst every driver in this field. They're having to wrestle with the wheel because there's sand on the road and it's a much hotter circuit than usual, so there is a big reduction in grip. This is not easy for anybody. This is not done. This is almost, not quite, but almost like driving in the wet. Because when you've got sand on the road and it's a hot circuit, the tyres don't want to grip. Somebody's lost a bit of front wing there. Not entirely sure who that's come off of, but I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later. So let's see how the drivers deal with the situation now. 21 minutes and 40 seconds roughly left in the race. Not quite sure why the timing has frozen, but I'll keep you up to date with it as soon as we go through each part of the race. So, Nakamura Berta, Al-Aheri and Powell. 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Then Jack Beaton, then Enzo Ye, Deegan Fairclough, Enzo Deligny, Freddie Slater, Keanu Alazari, Gilles Garanta, Zach Scholar. Unfortunately, it's looking pretty destitute for Gabriel Stilp. He is down to 31st position, having come into the pits, so I think it's fair to say that we've just lost one of our championship contenders. Safety car is out, safety car on circuit. So clearly the debris, yes, that is in a fairly dangerous position. So I'm not sure whose wing that is. That could well be Gabriel Stilp's in the high-tech. But I have to say, when you've got teenagers out on the circuit, that safety car is very much warranted. When you've got a part that is that big out on the circuit, safety has to be paramount. So with there being debris at turn 8, they had to call the safety car on that one, really. You couldn't avoid that. See, look how close to the normal racing line that actually is. And when you've got drivers battling wheel to wheel, without the safety car, that would have been inevitable that one of the drivers would have gone into that. So it's going to be very tricky now, as obviously the field will bunch up. This is great news for Fairclough, Deligny, Slater et al, because now they're going to close right up on the top 5 again. So let's see how it all transgresses as a result of that. Well, we've got the ability now to take you through the through the race order, and there are quite a few shuffles in the deck here. The top 3 are as they started: Kian Nakamura Berta, Rashid Al-Aheri and Alex Powell, but it looks as though all 3 have got a race-winning car, so it could be interesting to see who gets it. Jack Beaton is now up to 4th, having started P6. Enzo Ye is now 5th, having started 7th, so good starts from them. Deegan Fairclough's the big mover. He's gone from 9th on the grid to P6. Then 7th is Enzo Deligny, 8th is Freddie Slater, he's shot up from 13th. 9th is Keanu Alazari, he has actually slipped back a few places. 10th is Gilles Garanta, not the greatest of starts for the Frenchman, and he's in the final points paying position at the moment. Zach Scholar is in 11th position, and the reverse grid pole as it stands is likely to be the Macanese driver, Thiago Rodriguez. So he could be starting on reverse grid pole for Excel. 13th at the moment is Matteo Quintarelli. Then Thomas Stolchamanis, the Latvian, ahead of Alvis Rodella and Jovan David, the Sri Lankan Bat, as he is known. He is nicknamed the Bat, and you'll probably see around the circuit quite a few people in those special limited edition lime green t-shirts that Jovan David's camp have come up with. The Bat will rise, is what they say. 17th is Sebastian Murray. 18th is Lucas Amalisto. 19th is Reza Sawudan, and then Davide Larini in 20th in front of Chuyan Pu, Max Popov, Rafael Narak, Kamal Murad, Dion Gauda, Lucas Schoen, Everett Stagg, Fu Yuhao, Kari Schreiner and Nicholas Starty. We have 3 retirements by the look of it. One of them is Gabriel Stilp, and that's very unfortunate because it means we now drop from 6 championship contenders to 5. So it's now not mathematically possible for Gabriel Stilp to win this championship. I think he knew that going in realistically anyway. Kai Darianani out of the race after problems at the start, and Maxi Restrepo, the Colombian, also in dire straits for the Santalok team. So just 30 drivers competing. Some of you might have thought there should be 34. Well, the 34th was the Japanese driver Hyu Yamakoshi, who picked up a light injury after Yas Marina last week, and unfortunately it hasn't healed sufficiently enough in time for him to take to the start of these races. So very unfortunate that we don't get to see him racing, because he was very impressive as a new boy. So very exciting. But let's see how this is going to go. Now the safety car has caught and bunched the field. They should all now have passed the scene of that debris, so one marshal should have plenty of time to get out there and remove it. And as a result of that, we should be able to go racing again. Obviously, it's a little bit tricky when you've got cars at varying points on the circuit. Now they've bunched them up. The marshal should be able to get out there, move the particular piece of carbon fibre from the wing, and then we can go back into race mode. Hopefully it should only be a one-lap safety car period, but if there's more to do in the clear-up job around the circuit, then we will be able to take our time to do that and then go racing once again. So this is a very different situation. This is why this championship is so impressive, because you've got so many different conditions to play with here. We had rain, we had a midway race last time out at Yas Marina where it wasn't wet enough for wet tyres and it wasn't dry enough for slicks, and that's the most nightmarish of all circumstances for a racing driver. Safety car in at the end of this lap. So it is just a one-lap safety car. So we are going to go racing this time, I do believe. That's what came up on my timing screen at least. I was told safety car in at the end of this lap. I wonder if it's... Yeah, it is bunched up. So we are now going to go racing. Kia Nakamura gets the time when he goes on the restart. There's the green flag at the line, but they can't overtake until they pass that point. Now Kia Nakamura-Berta's gone for it. He's dropped the hammer. And as a result of that, everybody's now going to try and dial themselves in. The key here is to go slow into the final corner and fast out, and then you can get a good run for turn one. So let's see how this restart comes up. It's green, 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 and Kia Nakamura-Berta back into the lead. Rashid Al-Daheri second place. Alex Powell already in the draft, trying to make the bid for second position. Al-Daheri trying to shake him off, goes close to the pit wall. Alex Powell might be able to do this right round the far side. There's enough room left just about for the two of them. Jack Beaton holds on in front of Enzo Ye as well. But a run wide from Al-Daheri, that's not going to help him on the exit. Alex Powell might get an opportunity. He goes long through the radius. So Alex Powell has to dial in behind Al-Daheri once again. Behind them, it's Beaton, Ye, Fairclough, Deligny, the Red Bull youngster. And he's desperately trying to hang it out in front of Freddie Slater and Keanu Al-Azari, the championship opponents. This is so tight in terms of championship. Slater is on course for 4 points. Al-Azari is on course for 2. Nakamura-Berta's on course for 25. And Rashid Al-Daheri is on course for 18. So this is really going to tighten up. As far as the championship is concerned, between these four, it could go the distance right the way to the last race of the year. And don't forget, race 2 is a reverse grid race as well. So that really does mean anything could happen. And for Slater and Al-Azari, they could end up at the front of the grid for race 2. Here we go, down to the braking zone, the big one at the end of the back straight. And there could be a few drivers chopping across for positions. Moving around in the braking area, got to be careful of doing that too sporadically, because then you could end up with a penalty. But certainly for the moment, it's all guns blazing for Nakamura-Berta. Ahead of Al-Daheri, Powell, Beaton, and Enzo Ye. Then this battle for 6th place between Deegan Fairclough, Enzo Deligny, and Freddie Slater. Deligny really starting to attack Fairclough as running wide goes one of the Santalocks. Back onto the road again. A very dusty day at the races. But back to the hairpin once again, and that's Fairclough with Deligny trying to go the long way round. Slater trying to sort himself out on the far side. Al-Azari has got pressure from Carranza. Carranza squeezes him, and Al-Azari drops to P10. Meanwhile, Slater is being forced to the far side by Deligny. The championship leaders are being put to their backs against the ropes. And Deligny hangs on in front of Slater. So neither of the two drivers leading the championship are in a comfortable position right now. But if Al-Azari stays where he is pole position for race 2 with a chance to pull clear of Slater in the championship fight. So suddenly, 10th position is not looking like a bad place to be, as Sebastian Murray has a crack up the inside of Somalisto in their battle for 16th. And now Fairclough really having to resist Deligny, the youngster from France, who has both American and Chinese heritage. Enzo Deligny working so hard here. But Deegan Fairclough's taken a very wide berth through that double right-hander in the hope that by the time he shuts it down for the left, he'll have it back to the square position again. But Freddie Slater, P8, on course for 4 points. Al-Azari, P10, on course for only 1 point. That would certainly give Slater the upper hand going into race 2, but for the reverse grid draw, Al-Azari would be starting 3rd on the grid. It's the top 12 that are reversed in F4 UAE. This is such a tough mind game now for the drivers in the championship fight. A big challenge from Deligny. He's got nothing to lose. He dives in on Fairclough and he gets the overtake. Lovely job from Enzo Deligny. Fairclough runs deep on the curbs, and as a result, Fairclough's got a chance to have another crack at it, but Slater's going to try and drive round him, and Slater is through. Can Fairclough get back on terms with Freddie Slater? Down in the braking zone, and Slater's nailed him. Nicely done. That's P7 for Freddie Slater now. And there's Van David getting himself into the mix. This is terrific stuff from the Sri Lankan, all the way from Colombo. Lives in Dubai nowadays, but what a sensation he is turning out to be. Terrible qualifying, but amazing in the races. And now Slater's trying to go the long way round on Enzo Deligny. Deligny can't afford to leave him too much space. Slater will commit and holds to the inside line, but he has to bail out of it in the end. Enzo Deligny is no pushover. Slater will try. Deligny has to block across the cover. This could give Fairclough and maybe even Jules Caranta a run to the first corner. So now Deligny's got to try and shake them off the toe. As Deligny crosses the line in P6, here comes Freddie Slater. Slater's in the draft. Deligny knows he's coming. Caranta's going to go right to the wall to try and get past Fairclough. Slater doesn't make it work. Caranta does, but he drifts wide of the exit. Deligny picks out wide, and Slater's going to get him. Fairclough will get Deligny in turn, but gets squeezed wide in the process. So Fairclough does complete the move. Deligny has to back down, and now Al-Azhari is going to be hunting all over the back wing of Caranta. It's perfect for Freddie Slater. He gets away from it all, and he's now in P6 with a chance to eat into the deficit. This race has so many twists and turns. Remember what I was saying at the start. It's not just about who's the fastest over one lap. It's who can look after the tyres over half an hour. And suddenly, you'll find you've got no grip on the previous lap where you had some. Down the back straight, Nakamura Berta still hanging on from Aldeheri and Powell, then beaten, yay, and then a big gap back again to Enzo Deligny, who's fought his way to get up. But no, it's Freddie Slater, isn't it, now in P6. Fairclough defends. I don't think he needed to. Caranta's now trying to go the long way round Enzo Deligny. Not a lot of room to play with, but Caranta's going to try and make his bid for his fellow countryman. The two Frenchmen are going to go wheel to wheel. Deligny goes a little bit wide. Here comes Al-Azhari trying to split the two of them, and he's done it round the far side. Can he hold it? Al-Azhari needs to keep a wiggle on. Beautiful. Al-Azhari deals with Deligny perfectly, and now here comes the Prema of Thomas Stolchamanis. He's taken over Dorian Pain's car for the last weekend of the year. Al-Azhari's going to dive in on Caranta. Can he make that work? Lock up. And Caranta goes wide. Al-Azhari's going to have the inside, but will he have enough traction on the outside? No, he doesn't. Caranta comes back at him. Terrific racing in the final weekend of the season. This is critical for Al-Azhari, the championship leader, with the yellow nose tip on the Yazid colours. Stolchamanis up the inside of Deligny. Deligny doesn't have to leave too much space for the Latvian. They actually bang wheels as they come off the turn. And now Stolchamanis has got him on the brake. Somebody's lost part of the nose cone on the main straight. Now that is pretty catastrophic if they end up going into that. So that could end up being another safety car potentially. So the 83 is reported to the stewards, I am told, for waving during the safety car laps. That's Jules Caranta. So that's a very bizarre thing to be weaving at the main straight, not waving, weaving on the main straight on lap 6. Jules Caranta has essentially been given a warning by the stewards, or he's been reported to the stewards. I thought it was something to do with him waving behind the safety car, and there goes Al-Azhari out wide. Has to cut back in front of Stolchamanis. Still has a chance to get through though on Deligny. Holds to the inside line and keeps the position. Keanu Al-Azhari able to hold on there, and there is a yellow flag waving on the main straight. That is for the debris. They might be able to get a marshal out to that and remove the debris in time before a safety car is needed, because there are a lot of marshals on that main straight, so we should be okay. But we'll keep an eye on it as Van David now starts to attack Zach Skula for 12th position, and that would be reverse grid pole, and he's done it round the outside. Mighty move from Van David. That is such a stellar overtake with so much riding on it too. Up the inside comes Al-Azhari, safety car. Talk about the nick of time for Van David. They do call the safety car, but David has completed the move just in the nick of time, and that is potentially a reverse grid pole for the Sri Lankan. So that's why we're under safety car. That panel from the car is now in the middle of the road. I couldn't tell you which car it's come from. So we'll have to double check. Don't tell me it's from Yvan David's car. I thought there was something missing from one of the Santa locks. Yeah, it looks like it's a panel of a Santa lock. If that's Yvan David's piece, it is, you know. That's come off Yvan David's car. It's just parted company on the main straight. Now, question, is that enough for a technical flag? I'm not sure if it is or not. And there's a couple of drivers here who don't know that we're under safety car. Come on, guys. Safety car boards have been around the circuit. So Yvan David is now sitting there in P12 going, please, 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 let me keep this. The car is fine. The piece has already come off the car and they're going to clear it. Please don't give me a technical flag. I can go to the flag. I can do this. Because for Yvan David, a reverse grid pole would be absolutely heaven sent after the miserable season he's had for bad luck. But getting into 12th position now is critical. But there is the bodywork that has come from the Santa lock. Let's have a look at it again. Look in the background. You're about to see it fly up in the air. Look behind the pink nose of Zach Skula. There it is. It parts company on the main straight. Well, this is a tricky one because technically that piece of bodywork has now parted company. I've seen this in the past when the marshals and the officials think, well, it's not going to fall off because it already has. So they might just be able to keep him going without having an issue. But I've also seen it in the past where they feel, well, the car is not complete. So it's a difficult one. Do you give him a technical flag for that? I really hope, for his sake, that they don't. Because I know there's a heck of a lot of people down in Colombo, in Sri Lanka, who are absolutely cheering for this. And over at Albatross, I'm sure they're all sitting around getting very, very excited about the prospect of their boy getting a reverse grid pole. I'll tell you who has got the black and orange flag. It's a completely different driver. That's Kamal Murad. So Kamal Murad has had to come into the pits to repair his car. He has now done that. Safety car in at the end of this lap. Okay, we're going to go racing again. Nakamura Berta will have another chance to disappear into the distance, and we've only got 6 minutes left of racing, plus the additional lap after that. So there is the 76. That's Rafael Narac's Santa lock. That's what it should look like. I really hope everybody out there now is going to be able to go to the flag without incident because we want a pure close quarters race now. So out they come. Let's see if this is going to go the distance. Nakamura Berta's already gone for it. He's already dropped the hammer. But Rashid Al-Daheri wasn't caught out by that at all. So it looks like he'll go with him. He may get a chance on the second green flag lap of this restart. This is going to be very close all the way. So let's see how it all continues. We're going to come off the final turn. The leaders are going to be green, 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 green. And Nakamura Berta gets back into the lead of the race once again. Al-Daheri second, Powell third, Beaton fourth. Then Ye, Slater, Fairclough, Caranta, Deligny, Al-Azari, Stoljamanis, and Yvan David looking good for a reverse grid pole. Look at the battle going on between Fairclough and Caranta. Caranta and Fairclough right up close to the pit lane exit as Caranta tries his best to overcut the high-tech. They come again. Through turn 3, flat on the throttle through the right-hander. And at least those two safety car periods will have given the tyres a little bit of a breather, but not enough of them to be comfortable. Still they challenge on. Zach Skula trying to get himself back into 12th position. Young man who lives very close indeed to this very race circuit. He says he can actually see his house from here. Fantastic battle. Still to come in this one, and look how close Freddie Slater's got to Enzo Ye. He's just on the charge for points. He knows that Al-Azari is a long way behind him, so if he can score as many points as possible, he can at least level the deficit, especially when you consider that Kia Nakamura Berta is leading the race and could tie Keanu Al-Azari for points in the championship. This could go right down to the wire as Fairclough and Caranta continue their squabble. Is that Slater in front of Ye? It is! So Slater's got ahead of Enzo Ye now. That's up for P5 for Freddie Slater. He is charging through this field and he's getting himself back into championship winning contention. So 5 points, 5th position, sorry, will be good enough for 10 points. That'll be 9 more than Keanu Al-Azari if it stays like this. And it will mean that Nakamura Berta will only close him up by 15. So this is very tight. I think we're going to have 3 drivers here, potentially covered by about 3 points in the championship fight. Deligny tries to go the long way around Caranta, finds Fairclough in his way. Caranta's going to try and make it happen anyway. Skates across. Fairclough will not be intimidated. Deligny's going to try and come past both of them on the inside line. Deligny's made it work. Here comes Al-Azhari in the championship fight, throwing himself into the gauntlet, and they still run the outside. Fairclough trying to keep himself in this mix. Stonchamanis and David are now in the battle as well. Terrific racing as they come off the turn and down the main straight again. Deligny and Fairclough, wheel to wheel, almost locking wheels. Watch for Caranta. He goes across the ribbon to get past both men. Caranta throws his weight into the battle and heads the pack. Brilliant from the Frenchman. David runs a little bit deep. Will rejoin in behind Stonchamanis. Al-Azhari's got to be careful he doesn't take his front wing off with Fairclough. But Gilles Caranta will not be pushed around, and he finds himself back in 7th position once more. This is absolutely euphoric motorsport between these 6 drivers. But in the middle of it all is the championship leader, Chiano Al-Azhari, and he's got to be so careful not to throw himself out of the race. Well, there is the hard-charging Dion Gouda in the middle of all of that, trying to fight his way back into contention, I do believe. So it's all pretty close quarters. He's worked his way up to 19th, by the way, Dion Gouda. An amazing drive from what was essentially a pit lane start. Down the straight, Stonchamanis has got David all over the back of him. Ivan David trying his best. Can he go the long way round? Doesn't look like it for the moment. Now, I haven't seen the technical flag come out for Ivan David, so I don't think it's going to happen. So I think he's going to get away with it, which is absolutely brilliant. It's not exactly as if he can do anything about that situation, but he's certainly not in a dangerous car. So he should be able to bring it home to the flag, and in 12th position, that will be pole position for race 2, if he can just hang on to it. But it's so difficult to hang on to anything right now. He drifts wide as he jewels away. This is tough stuff in F4 UAE. We knew it was going to be this close all the way, but it just continues to be. Big lock up in front of us, but Gouda is having a great squabble with Luca Somalisto. That's one of the Santa Locks in the mix there behind them. I think that is Rafael Narak, who is currently dealing with Julian Pu and Lucas Schun, the XL teammates. So there's battles everywhere you look in this race. Diving up the inside, that's one of the PHM cars. That is the 33 of Max Popov trying to get into the mix. Dueling away in the hope that he can mix it with Davide Larini, who is currently the leading PHM AIX driver. Not bad considering this is only his 4th race behind the wheel of this car. Dion Gouda trying to shake off the attentions of the man in 16th. Thiago Rodriguez has suddenly got Freddie Slater all over the back of him. And we're into the final seconds of this race, which means we're on the penultimate lap. The top 3 is going to remain as is, but Freddie Slater is going to fight tooth and nail to get himself back into 4th position. Can he make it happen? There is the number 5, Sebastian Murray. He's got pressure of his own now. He's got Chuyan Pu and Rafael Narak hot on his heels as Narak has a look on the inside of the Chinese driver. Chuyan Pu not able to get through. Down the back straight. Nakamura Berta still thinks Al-Daheri could be a threat, trying to shake him off the toe. 3, 2, 1. Time is up. So that means we're on the penultimate lap. When they finish this lap, we will have 1 more to go. So for Kian Nakamura Berta, he is about to complete the mother of all comebacks. A win in this race puts him right into the vanguard of the championship fight going into tomorrow, and it will certainly give us an amazing showdown. Full credit to Rashid Al-Daheri and Alex Powell. They have done everything they possibly can to keep the championship fight alive. In Alex Powell's case, I think it will be game over after this one, but not by much. And I think for Rashid Al-Daheri, it's going to be pretty tricky for them now. There is an investigation for possible overtake under safety car, and that is for Chiano Al-Azhari, the championship leader. You couldn't have asked for any more drama in this race, and it looks like we're going to get a last-minute one. Now, if he has overtaken under safety car, he will, of course, drop back and out of the points. So here we go, final lap begins. Kian Nakamura Berta, 1 lap to go. And he's trying desperately to shake off Rashid Al-Daheri here. But this is still a man under pressure. You can sense that Kian Nakamura Berta knows this is his last chance to get back on terms with Al-Azhari and Slater in the championship fight, especially looking at how quick Slater is over a few laps. And Slater's in a good position for race 3, so he's definitely going to be a threat in the final race of the season. That is for sure. This is going to come down to the last lap of the last race of the year. You can just sense it. It's so tight. And I really cannot see how this is going to be settled easily. But now that we know that the number 11, Keanu Al-Azhari, championship leader, is under investigation for a possible overtake under safety car, that could throw a real hammer blow into this championship. Not only that, because of course if he gets a penalty and drops well out of the top 12, his weekend could be massively compromised. So let's see how this all plays out. Nakamura Berta locks up in the lead, still under pressure, still with difficulties finding grip. And these tyres have never been more exhausted. Rashid Al-Aheri still trying to stay with Kia Nakamura Berta. Could he snatch the win in the final few corners? If Nakamura Berta can't keep the car pointed in the right direction sufficiently, it might just happen. Rashid Al-Aheri still keeping the faith. That Dubai skyline, a magnificent feature of this race circuit. Rashid Al-Aheri's only got a few corners to take advantage of any slip-ups of Kia Nakamura Berta, who locks up again, but so does Al-Aheri. It's stalemate. Nakamura Berta's got to try and save this in the final few corners. If he messes up the last one, it could be a sprint to the line. Nakamura Berta's got to be careful. Down to the final turn, they are struggling for grip, they're really fighting it, but Nakamura Berta is going to pull off the comeback of the century. He wins here in Dubai, the first race of the weekend, and that sets up an amazing fight for the title. Slater's taking it to the line with Beaton. Has he beaten him? No, he misses out by 71 thousandths of a second. It's 5th place for Freddie Slater, but that's an amazing drive and 10 points on the board. Al-Azhari crosses the line 10th, good enough for 1 point. And I tell you what, there is a bit of a party going on in Sri Lanka right now, because Van David has crossed the line in P12. If he stays there, he will be in reverse grid pole position for tomorrow's second race. That is a monstrous comeback for Van David, having started all the way back in 25th. He has gone through half the field like the missile in Mario Kart. Absolutely sensational for the Sri Lankan. But of course, we still need to wait for that investigation into Keanu Al-Azhari, whether he did indeed overtake under safety car. It's being investigated. And if that's the case, then he will lose 10th position, the point that goes with it, and it could ruin race 2 for him. Because at the moment, he's looking to start race 2 from 3rd on the grid. So here are the provisional results. Kia Nakamura Berta, your winner from Rashid Al-Aheri. Great job from him. Alex Powell in 3rd, and another very stunning podium. Jack Beaton beats Freddie Slater to the line by 71 thousandths of a second. From Ye, Deligny, Caranta, Fairclough, and Keanu Al-Azhari, who will be sweating all the way until that investigation is concluded later this evening. 11th for Thomas Dolgimanis, who will start on the front row alongside Van David in pole position for tomorrow. That is a big deal for everybody back home in Sri Lanka. Lucas Samalisto, Zach Skula, Dion Gauda, Thiago Rodriguez, Davide Larini, the leading PHMAX driver ahead of Quintarelli, Popov, and Sebastian Murray. Some great battles. Narak in 21st in front of Chu Yan Pu, then Loic Kashun, Nicolas Stati, Reza Suwerthan, Kamal Murad, Everett Stack, Carrie Schreiner, Vuyu Hao, and Alves Rodella. The last man to finish the race was actually Gabriel Stilp. He got the car going again to get some extended test session laps in, I guess, to figure out what to do with the tyres tomorrow. The 2 retirements, Kai Dadianani and Maxi Restrepo. But what a thriller. That just shows you how tough it is in 28 degrees air temperature, sand on the racetrack, barely any grip in the tyres, and we could have a showdown that goes all the way to the last corner of the last lap of the last race of this epic season. It really is that close, folks. I think when you've got Rashid Al-Aheri banging in those podiums, Kia Nakamura Berta taking a crucial 25 points for the win, and Freddie Slater bouncing back in style, and of course Keanu Al-Azhari trying to scrape a point or 2 here or there. This is going to be maybe 3 points separating the top 3 drivers in the championship going into race 2 tomorrow. Unbelievable. You couldn't have scripted it if you'd given it to Ron Howard. Kia Nakamura Berta gets out of the car. Very deserving drive from the young Englishman, who has Japanese and Slovakian heritage. He's part of the Alpine Academy. No wonder the F1 team backs this boy. Cool and calm as a cucumber under pressure. and definitely a name to watch for the future. But not only that, he's turned a 25-point deficit in the championship to what I think could end up being a dead heat in the championship lead. That is unbelievable. Great run from Rashid Al Daheri. The Emirati has been superb here. Great to see him on the podium here in Dubai. A very impressive run from him as well. And for the local fans here, that is very pleasing indeed to see a proper United Arab Emirates superstar making his way to the podium. And in third position, a great run from the boy from Miami, Alex Powell, who is part of the Mercedes F1 Junior Driver Program and could certainly be a candidate in the future to partner the likes of George Russell. He's come back into the pit lane very slowly, I have to say. So a fascinating situation for Alex Powell, who has literally crawled in third position. Not quite sure why he's taken so long to come back. But a third position nonetheless for the boy from Miami. And Alex Powell, who has got a massive legion of fans, not only in the United States, but also in Kingston Town in Jamaica, where his uncle, Asafa Powell, I'm sure, will be very proud of his nephew. The Olympic superstar, clearly it runs in the family. Speed is very much in the Powell DNA. Great performance from all three of our drivers on the rostrum. I think Alex Powell has understood that although he finishes in third position, that's the championship pretty much done for him as far as winning the championship is concerned. But he has still shown what he can do with a win earlier in the season and some fantastic podiums since then. He has learned the hard way. He's done an absolutely terrific job. And he'll join me, Kian and Rashid on the podium very, very shortly indeed. Excellent racing here at Dubai Autodrome, and that was only race one. We've still got two absolute banters to come over the course of Sunday. In third position for the United States of America, Alex Powell. A great run for the Mumbai Falcon. More silverware to take home to Miami. Excellent work. In second position for the United Arab Emirates, Rashid Al Daheri. A huge cheer from the crowd and a very impressive run to second position for the Yazid team. But your race winner for the United Kingdom, Kian Nakamura Berta. Right into the fight for the championship now with this brilliant, brilliant victory.
It's now my honor to invite the General Manager of Dubai Autodrome, Mr. Faisal Abdullah Al-Salawi, to present the trophies to our drivers on the rostrum. A fabulous performance from all three. Firstly, in third position for the United States of America and the Mumbai Falcons, Alex Powell! Secondly, for the United Arab Emirates and the Yazheed Race Academy and Prema Racing, Rashid Al-Dahedi! And lastly, to our race winner for the United Kingdom and Mumbai Falcons, Kian Nakamura Bata! He actually takes 2 trophies, ladies and gentlemen, because not only does he win the race overall, he also wins the Rookie Cup as well. Right into the fight for this championship now, folks. And it is wonderful to see such an incredible waft of drivers in such a fantastic first race. And we've got 2 more of those to come tomorrow. The champion is anything but decided. Looks like it's going to go right down to the last corner of the last lap of the last race of the season, the way it's currently going. Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Powell, Rashid Al-Dahedi, and your race winner, Kian Nakamura Bata. And of course, it's time for the boys to celebrate in style here at the end of race 1. Let's get busy with the fizzy. Congratulations to our 3 drivers. They've done a terrific job. Excellent race and fantastic performances from our drivers. They have got 2 exciting and intense races tomorrow. We cannot wait to see how it's all going to play out. A massive congratulations to Alex Powell, to Rashid Al-Dahedi, and to Kian Nakamura Berta. There are 2 races to come tomorrow. We cannot wait to see how it all unfolds. The champion will be decided on Sunday here at Dubai Autodrome, but the Formula Regional Middle East Championship race is coming up very shortly.